To reflect on the game Saturday, couldn't be more proud of our group of guys, how they responded from a few things. You made such a good point the other night. Have you ever been, lose by 30 and come back and beat a team? I don't know. Did you research it? Because I don't know if
I don't remember it.
Yeah. And then to lose the way we did at Minnesota, leading for a good portion of the game and then kind of just let it slip through your hands. I just felt like they came back with great intent and great purpose. I felt like our leaders really stepped up during that practice on Friday. And typically when I have a noon game, I'm not going real hard because we went to class Friday. So we couldn't practice till 2:45, but I did something against the grain that I haven't done in a long time, and we practiced hard. We went for 75 minutes, and we went after it, and we competed. And sometimes maybe that leads into the next day, and it did. For sure, our defense was as good as I've seen it for a majority of the game. For majority, I'll say 30 minutes after watching film and the breakdown. Guys really stepped up. I think the starting lineup is really giving us a good boost at the right time right now to let guys kind of see the pace of the game and keep Mike out of foul trouble. And Miles hits a monster three when Ohio State was making a little run at us. So there was a lot of positives to be taken away from Ohio State's game. Today we went back to work. Obviously Martin Luther King Day, what an amazing day for our guys. We showed them a short video of a great speech by Dr. King, and then we added some NBA players in there to give their perspective on the impact of Dr. King, which I thought was awesome, really powerful message that he sent. But we stayed in the moment, we were present, we got better today, and that's what we have to continue to do. The Big Ten is unbelievable. What a great league. So let's just stay present, go one day at a time here.
Lamar obviously made a big decision to come back. How do you think he's handled this season in terms of being comfortable not scoring as much as he has in the past? And honestly, I think there have been times where he's gotten some close whistles that have maybe gone against him. How has he dealt with that? And I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot, but
no. It's fair. One, I think Lamar wants to win. He understands that it's not so much about scoring. He's done that, and he is doing that. I mean, through the first few games, the Big Ten season here, and I think he's our leading scorer, if I'm correct, or at least the last. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like he's scoring 19 the way he did last year, but he's still getting some solid points for us and very good production. He made some big plays down the stretch for us as well when they were trying to cut it under 10. As far as the officiating, yeah, it can be frustrating for him. I think he's earned the respect of the officials, but he also has to learn some little things. Just not reaching, playing off 2 feet, called jump stopping, things like that could prevent at least one of those fouls. So he's getting at least one offensive foul almost a game. So if we can prevent that one and a reach, well, now you're going to end every game with 2. And I think if he continues to develop and continues to work on his habits on the defensive end specifically, I think he's in a better position to stay in the games longer.
This is probably dumb, admittedly.
There's no dumb questions.
There are dumb questions. This is dumb. What's the difference waking up on Sunday morning after a win as opposed to any of the prior 10 days or 11 days?
Nothing changes for me. I know that sounds crazy.
Be honest.
I'm telling you, you want to know what I do on Sundays? I go to 7:30 Mass. That's what I do. If I'm in town, I'm going to 7:30 Mass. And I usually bring my children, and that's what I do. And then I go to the Naked Egg. So if you're looking for me at 8:45, I'll be at the Naked Egg. Having a whole farm over medium with bacon. We're great. Coaches are nuts. We get into a routine. This is our routine, and it's not changing. This is who we are. Now, did it feel better in the bottom of my belly? Yes, of course it did. Of course it did. To be able to come back, especially after the way they beat us and being on a 3-game, losing streak, to be able to get a great win in front of close to 15,000, it was a significant win for us.
For everyone else, your staff and players, are there changes in body language that you notice, that you see? Or do they...
After a win?
Yeah. Well, specifically today or yesterday.
Yeah, today's energy was great, and you're worried because you gave them a day off on Sunday, but they came back with great purpose and intent. Obviously, your body language is going to be better after a victory or a win, but which leads me to this. We have to continue to grow and learn around successes. How do we handle successes? We had successes early, and we didn't handle it real well after Iowa. And now you go through a couple speed bumps, and now you're back with a really sound, I thought it was a sound victory. It could have been north of 20. At the end, it got a little sloppy there. But we have to now learn how to handle short-term successes and extend them to everyday consistency.
You mentioned honoring Martin Luther King today. How often do you guys kind of take the moment to talk about things that are bigger than basketball, and what are the interactions like within the team when you take that opportunity?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, we have definitely talked about real world, real life issues, I guess you could say. Obviously, today is Dr. King Day, and that was awesome for what he has done for all Americans. And we showed that in a great short video. I brought up Muhammad Ali just the other day, another great pioneer, another great leader. We can always learn incredible lessons for our team, but as individuals as well. I try to steer clear of politics, but sometimes it does come up, and then you have those break-offs, especially at like pregame meal or just a meal in general, and they're seeing something out there that they want to know about. We'll talk about those items at hand. But I also have to be strategic because I'm reading right, I'm reading left, I'm reading in the middle. I'm trying to encompass everything. So I don't want to steer them or give them my opinion, so it's their opinion. They have to research and read as well, and have an educated response to whatever's going on in society.
Coach, looking ahead to Michigan, they hired Phil Martelli as an assistant coach this offseason.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with him, and how has he kind of impacted Philly basketball in all of his years with St. Joe's?
Phil Martelli is an amazing human being, not only a great coach, great leader, great father, great husband, but what he has done for Philadelphia basketball as far as charities. He put St. Joe's on St. Joe's was on the map, but he put St. Joe's on, he kept it there, let's just put it that way. Just an amazing guy. We would vacation in the same areas. Obviously, I see him often when I do go back to Philly or go back to New Jersey. So he's made an incredible impact on me because I've known him since I was a player. So he was an assistant coach at St. Joe's when I was a player. So I've known him for a very long time. And there's definitely things that I've taken from him as far as X's and O's and coaching philosophy and things that he has done. So I'm forever grateful for his relationship and what he's done for not just basketball, but for the community and the city of Philadelphia.
Maybe beyond how you guys handle success, when you look at the rest of the Big Ten, specifically Rutgers, and the sample size is now large enough that they're second place, right? Illinois, the same thing. Has your guys' mentality, like, have you been able to kind of get those guys on board with not taking a night off, with like that kind of mentality? Do they understand the game in, game out, kind of nature of the league this year?
I think they do. It's funny, I try not to talk about other programs. I try not to talk about other teams because it's not about them, it's about us and where our mindset is and what our mental fitness or conditioning is for that day. It's like if you're missing shots, you can still defend and rebound. You're still going to dive on the floor. We finally had some really impressive dives and we attempted charges that looked like an old school Penn State team. And that's what our focus needs to be. If we can play like that every night, or every game, or every day in practice, well, you're going to give yourself a chance at success. And that's what my focus has truly been. I'm happy for Rutgers and Illinois, that they have climbed the mountain. This is really about Penn State and what we control.
Are you happy, comfortable with the balance you've struck between John and Mike, with the minutes and who's starting, who's coming in when, and what kind of went into that decision?
Yeah, I'm so far only 2 games. Minnesota, we had a chance. and that's what you ask for on the road, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, be in a 1 or 2 possession game. At home, obviously, it was pretty successful so far. I think sharing of the minutes, I think Mike's playing that much harder now that he's not worried about foul trouble. He was in a stance. I think John's starting to produce offensively. He's got great confidence right now. Had a couple go-to moves. He had a monster dunk for us at a big point after a timeout. And I thought Mike played a little bully ball. He went to his left shoulder instead of just fading away. Although he did hit a good mid-range jumper, which I was excited to see because we work on those things. So I thought both guys are really enjoying some success right now. And fives have hurt us, but not necessarily the last 2 games. Even though Oturo had big numbers, it was really weak side offensive rebounding. Our ball screen defense is getting better. Our one-on-one defense is getting better in the post. I've been a couple fouls here and there. So I think those two are in good space right now as far as how we're approaching it. And I think our team is benefiting from that as well.
And with respect to Michigan, what differences are you seeing from Juwan Howard and from Beeline? Because you obviously had coached against him for
forever. I
7, 8
haven't played
years.
against him when I was in college. Haven't really dove into Michigan just quite yet, but from from watching them, they're playing a little faster for sure. Simpson to me is still Xavier Simpson, a great basketball player who's a maestro out there, a conductor, makes everybody better. That's for sure. And Teskey is one of the best. There's so many good big men in this league. I don't know how they're going to do it at the end of the year. I mean, you can't have 5 centers on the first team, can you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good this league is at the center position. It's pretty amazing. Those 2 guys are playing great. And then I would assume Levers, right? I would assume he's going to play against us. So now that they're going to add him back into the fold, it makes them a very different team, because they were hot in late November, right, at the Bahamas. I mean, they were playing really good basketball. Not that they're not. Look, they played 4 games on the road. I think they're number 1 strength of schedule now. They're number 1. We're number 2 strength of schedule in the Big Ten. So we're both playing very competitive schedules.
Pat, you mentioned in the past that when scouting opponents, you usually would look at their last 5 games kind of as a sample size. But when assessing your own team, do you use the same benchmark? How's that go?
Here's your last 5 games right here, my friend. It's so funny. Rose just asked me, why are you always looking at the last 5 games? There's always a story to be told. You're going to know who's hot, who's not, who's really producing offensively, defensively. I'm always looking at our attitude numbers on the impact of the game. They get me, deflections. We're not stealing the ball as much, but are we getting deflections? Are we contesting shots? And I thought the last couple of games, not Minnesota, obviously, the last game, we're doing a better job rebounding, I thought, against Ohio State. Even though they got 9, anything more than 10 is not very good. So.
I wanted to ask you about Kevin Freeman.
Yeah.
Obviously has experience, being on a championship level team. What struck you about him, I guess, before he, came here in 2018, and what have you kind of seen from him, taken from him since he's gotten here?
Whole package. I was absolutely looking for a needle in a haystack. I wanted a big man coach for Mike, right, for John in this league, and they got great bigs. So I wanted a big man coach. I wanted a winner, somebody who's got a great reputation inside and out, on the court, off the floor. And that's Kevin Freeman. He's an incredible father, great husband, great ambassador for Penn State basketball, but for basketball in general. He was a national champion as a player, as a coach, and a gold medal winner. And he's got an incredible story to tell. And then when I got in front of him, I knew it was the right guy. Just to be able to speak with him and talk to him about what he felt, what his philosophies were, and what was important to him, his core values, his core beliefs, really matched up to my pillars of excellence. And he's been great for us. He's really helped Mike on and off the floor. And as you see Johnny's confidence start to grow, that has a lot to do with Kevin Freeman. And I think our bigs are getting better, and that's the great challenge. And our recruiting, the footprint of recruiting that he offers or brings to us is somewhere where we want to live. So he's creating a Northeast corridor there. Born and raised in the Massachusetts area, but he has great relationships in New Jersey and New York.
you guys are going to have your longest break between games between this Michigan and Indiana game, and it's only one game over a 10-day span. How do you go about trying to take advantage of those longer breaks at this stage of the season, and where do you think you guys can make the most improvement right now?
Yeah, I really want to take advantage of this time between Michigan and Indiana. I just kind of mapped it out for our staff. We already had something mapped out, but you always, kind of want to tweak it as far as body and mind. Need to be as healthy as we possibly can be. Again, both physically and mentally going into Indiana, and then get a heck of a run after that in the month of February. So we're gonna, we'll get a day off there, and we'll do a cleanup day, and then we're gonna do a live day, maybe end of game situations type day, to really work on some of the weaknesses, but also continue to build off our strengths. Weaknesses right now, obviously, offensive rebounding. That's never gonna go away. We gotta continue to find bodies. The Big Ten's amazing at that, and we gotta start limiting fouling. Somehow, some way, we got to stop the reaching. We just got to wall up, play with our hands a little bit higher. Right now, opponents are making 20 free throws a game. If we have a couple less free throws against Minnesota, we're sitting here in a different situation. We'd probably get a huge road win. But we fouled, and then again, we fouled Ohio State. Well, a couple of our guys, especially the last 4 minutes of the first half, were all in foul trouble. That's why we were burning clock at the end of the half there, to try to just get to the halftime up double digits. And those guys did a great job. Ended up going up 15. They really finished the half off well. So play hard without fouling, rebound the basketball, and keep opponents off the free throw line.
Coach, a few weeks ago you said Big Ten road games are almost like trying to steal serve in tennis.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've kind of talked to your players about, and is that your mentality kind of going into these road games where Big Ten teams, I think, have won 6 games?
Yeah, you know what? That was really for you. For my team, it's about road attitude. Got to go in there. Have to compete. Have to be 8 to 10 points better than you are at home, and give yourselves a chance. One thing we're doing a great job of is taking care of the basketball. We have to continue to take care of the basketball. We didn't have any turnovers in the first half of Minnesota. We ended up with only 6, and then we just had 10 last game. So that's a real positive. We're not stealing the ball as much. However, we are taking care of the basketball. So we're limiting live ball turnovers, which means breakouts, which also could mean fouls. So we're definitely doing some good things. But road attitude and have to be 8 to 10 points better for sure.